Yes, in 2021, the FDA detected that all rifampin batches they tested contained levels of MNP, a nitrosamine impurity, exceeding the acceptable intake threshold. This triggered widespread concern across the industry because nitrosamines are known to be potentially carcinogenic.
Hello and welcome to Molecules to Medicine, Ensuring Safety at Every Step podcast. We're excited to bring you a special episode centered around an important advancement in clinical trials, a newly announced collaboration between Fortrea, a global, publicly traded clinical research organization, and Emery Pharma, a premier contract research organization focused on CMC, analytical testing, and drug release. This collaboration is about making drug development smarter and safer. Specifically, we're now offering FDA-compliant lot-by-lot testing of rifampin, which is the gold standard agent used in drug-drug interaction or DDI studies. Rifampin's use was called into question a few years ago due to concerns about nitrosamine impurities, specifically 1-methyl-nitropyrazine or MNP. But thanks to updated FDA guidance and our ability to rigorously test and certify rifampin, we're bringing this powerful tool back into early phase clinical research and safely and compliantly. I'm joined today by two guests, Dr. Marcus Stavchansky, Executive Director, CPS, Global Head of Pharmacy Services, and Dr. Ryan Cheu, Director of Chemistry here at Emery Pharma. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Dr. Stavchansky, let's begin with you. Could you explain what drug-drug interaction studies are and why they're critical in early phases of drug development?
Absolutely, Chris. DDI studies help us understand how a new investigational drug interacts with other medications that a patient may already be taking. This is particularly important when it comes to drug metabolizing enzymes such as CYP3A4. Rifampin is one of the most potent inducers of this enzyme and has been widely used as a tool compound in DDI studies. It helps us to see how the investigational drug behaves when enzyme levels are altered. This is key for predicting safety, efficacy, and dosing.
So why has rifampin been preferred over other inducers like carbamazepine or phenytoin?
Rifampin has a well-understood pharmacokinetic profile. It's fast-acting, predictable, and generally better tolerated by patients. Alternative inducers often have complex metabolic pathways, slower onset, and many more side effects. So rifampin has remained the gold standard, at least until nitrosamine concerns disrupted its routine use.
So let's talk about that disruption. In 2021, the FDA raised concerns about nitrosamine impurities in rifampin. Can you walk us through what happened?
Yes, in 2021, the FDA detected that all rifampin batches they tested contained levels of MNP, a nitrosamine impurity, exceeding the acceptable intake threshold. This triggered widespread concern across the industry because nitrosamines are known to be potentially carcinogenic. As a result, many sponsors began looking for alternative CYP3A4 inducers. But as we mentioned, those alternatives have limitations. Fortunately, in 2023, the FDA revised its guidance, raising the acceptable MNP limit for rifampin after additional toxicological evaluation. That reopened the door, but only if the impurity levels can be tested and confirmed batch by batch.
And that's where our lab comes in. Dr. Cheu, can you tell us how Emery Pharma is helping solve this challenge?
Certainly, Chris. So at Emery Pharma, we specialize in analytical testing, method development, method validation, all of which includes impurity profiling, as you and Marcus talked about. For nitrosamines like MNP, we use highly sensitive instruments, things like LC-MS-MS, HRMS, both of which methods can be used to detect and quantify these impurities, oftentimes at trace levels. What's really important, though, is that we provide lot-by-lot certification, as I think you had previously mentioned. So every batch of rifampin used in any of Fortrea's DDI studies, for example, we would test for MNP content to confirm that each one met those FDA requirements. So really this helps our sponsors, our collaborators, proceed with any sort of testing they do with confidence.
And is this testing done under GLP or cGMP conditions?
It's a great question. So this specific testing was done under cGMP testing because it was used for release. But that being said, we do offer both GLP and CGMP compliant testing. It really sort of just depends on the regulatory setting or the environment of where your program is sort of at. So really all of our methods that we use are fully validated. We're audit ready. We've been inspected by the FDA. What that really means though is that our data is ready. It's ready to be submitted to any regulatory agency as part of either a clinical trial application or an NDA.
And what would the typical turnaround time be?
That's another great question. So again, it really just depends. So a lot of times it depends on the volume or the number of samples that you're testing.
Great. And Dr. Stavchansky, from your perspective, what does this collaboration enable for Fortrea and its clients?
So the collaboration gives our clients some clarity, speed, and confidence. Instead of having to redesign studies or compromise with less effective alternatives, they can move forward using rifampin, supported by validated impurity data. It truly accelerates study timelines, it reduces risks, and allows us to uphold the highest safety standards.
Great. And then Dr. Cheu, how does this fit in with Emery Pharma's mission?
All right, this is exactly what we aim to do, at Emery Pharma. We want to translate complex analytical science into real-world regulatory and clinical solutions. So, as our role, it really is just to remove obstacles in that development process, where we want to help our partners, help the public, really taking care of everybody, doing the best that we can. And I think this collaboration shows that what's really possible when we have the right clinical insights as well as the analytical expertise, and when they work together, I think that's really when our partnership shines.
Great. And then Dr. Stavchansky, what's one thing you want listeners, especially clinical teams and sponsors, to take away from today's discussion?
It's that science-driven collaborations like this one are essential to modern drug development. When CROs and analytical collaborators align, sponsors are going to benefit, and ultimately, so do patients.
I think that even in the face of a dynamic environment in that sort of evolving regulatory field, that safe, compliant, and effective solutions are possible with the right science and the right team and the right collaborators.
Thank you, Dr. Stavchansky and Dr. Cheu, for sharing your insights. For our listeners, if your team is planning a DDI study or facing nitrosamine-related challenges, we encourage you to reach out, visit Fortrea.com to learn more about their clinical development services, and emerypharma.com to explore our impurity testing and CMC capabilities. Follow us on LinkedIn for updates and upcoming episodes. Thank you again for listening.